Fun fact, I have no idea how long this run took me. My PlayStation is set up to record in 30-minute intervals, so once I hit the record button, it just grabs the last 30 minutes of footage from the game I was playing. Which for Dark Souls 3 stuff, invasions, that works out just fine. But for something like Resident Evil, it's a little weird. Alright, so speaking of Resident Evil and a little weird, I'm sure it's a little weird to see me do something besides Dark Souls on this YouTube channel. But this is the game that I'm currently playing right now, and I kind of wanted to talk about how much I'm enjoying this game and why. I could talk about this shit forever. So, I'm currently streaming Resident Evil 2. I'm currently streaming a playthrough on hardcore mode. It's my first playthrough. I'm going into it completely blind. I don't understand anything, outside of what I remember from 20 years ago when I played this game, when I was a fucking kid, to now. You know what I mean? Like, I don't look up strategies on how to beat the bosses or, how to get the most efficient run from, place A to place B, which to my viewers' dismay, probably, because I know a lot of them, they've already beat the game, they've already played it, or they watch other streamers and they've seen them do it, and people are already doing like speed runs on this game, right? So I am doing my first playthrough on hardcore mode. Alright, after a stream the other day, I decided to, just in my own time, do a run-through of Resident Evil 2 on normal. And the game is a lot easier on normal, which is to be expected. That's fine. But also, now that I know where things are located, it's much easier for me to be efficient in a run from one spot to the next. You'll have to take my word for it, but what you're seeing here is from start of the game up until this video finishes, and I never saved. I just wanted to see how far I could get on one life, basically like a little permadeath run. Now I fully intend to do a run on normal mode after I finish hardcore, because I want to unlock 4th Survivor, and in order to do that you have to get like a pretty good grade on your run. If it's anything like the original Resident Evil 2, that's how you'll unlock it. So that's what what I plan on doing. 20 years ago when this game came out, Resident Evil 2 was one of those games, and again, I was, growing up poor. When you get a video game, you make it worth it. So Resident Evil 2, I spent a lot of time playing this game when I was a kid, and, unlocking Hunk and 4th Survivor, unlocking that mode, and then replaying it over and over again and trying to get my time better on the regular story mode and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun. Now, you can see that I'm still kind of taking my time as I'm walking through the areas here, and I'm aware of what is going to trigger changes in enemy placement in the map. I wasn't aware of this on my first playthrough, so I'm making sure to pick stuff up while it's easier to pick up, rather than while it's harder to pick up, after the lickers get here. So those shotgun shells that I just grabbed, for example, now's the time to get them before there's 2 lickers in this hallway. When there's just 1 licker in the hallway, at the, hey, look, it's a licker, here's your first introduction to it. Grab the shotgun shells then, as opposed to when there's 2 lickers in that hallway. Also, on normal mode, it's so much easier, just because inventory management is not as huge of a deal. People who have only ever played Resident Evil 4, 5, and or 6, they'll think of these games as action games, and Resident Evil 2 took place before all that. It's not an action game at all. I wish I could still shoot a zombie in the face and then belly to belly suplex it. Like, I wish that happened, but it doesn't. This is a game about inventory management, and it's about remembering where things are, and solving puzzles that aren't hard, but they are puzzles. So that's a huge portion of the game, and normal mode really kind of takes it easy on you because you get so many inventory spots compared to hardcore mode. By the end of this video, you will see I have more inventory spots with Leon in this mode than I do with my 20 some odd hour hardcore mode playthrough. In hardcore mode also, the zombies are just absolute bullet sponges. They take forever to kill. It's like it's almost worth not even shooting at them until you've got the shotgun. But then you have to take into consideration ammo and making sure you've got enough. So one thing they did here is they made the lickers blind, but they have really good hearing. So when you see me walking like this, actually take a moment and listen. You'll notice how Leon doesn't make any sounds as he walks. If you hold the directional, not the directional pad, but if you hold the analog stick harder, if you hold it forward, harder than I'm holding it as I'm playing this part, Leon will make footsteps. And the lickers can hear those footsteps. So that is really... It does, like, the tension that, the horror element of the game. You have to sit there and look at this fuck ugly thing, and you have to carefully walk, not run. If you run, it'll chase you, do all kinds of damage, lick your head off, etc. Another thing in hardcore is there's no saving without ink ribbons. In normal mode, you don't need an ink ribbon to save, which means every time you come to a typewriter, you can just save, which is nice. But look at all the items that I have. I'm not using much of anything at all. I'm able to, have healing items and, put them in my trunk for later use. I've got all my gunpowder in there so that, when I run out of ammo, I'll be able to make more ammo. So much of this game's resource war comes from areas where it feels like you have to use those resources. The tension in the game comes from the fact that you have to use a bullet or you have to use an herb. You either are accepting you're going to get hit or you're accepting that you're going to have to use some ammo. And in hardcore mode, unfortunately, one thing I don't like about the game is if you headshot a zombie, I understand if you don't want to give me like the instant kill Romero rules, but I figure it should at least always stagger, the zombie. At least stagger it, maybe knock it down, and then give it the, low percentage chance to one-shot the zombie. Now, the game does give you like a small percentage chance to just one-shot the zombie, even in hardcore mode with a well-executed headshot. But they're so few and far between that it honestly you will never and you should never count on it. In normal mode, it seems like it happens maybe a little more often, but zombies just in general take less damage to deal with. Now, as you saw, I walked past that window right there, and you could see that I had boarded it up. And I've done that so that in the next act of the game, wherein there will be lickers in the hallway, as well as an unstoppable Michael Myers type known as Tyrant or Mr. X, he'll be in that hallway as well. And I'm going to need to get through there on several occasions. Having zombies as well as lickers, as well as the Tyrant in that hallway at the same time, has just been absolute hell on me in hardcore mode. So, knowing that, and being able to, and knowing where to put all of those boards over the windows, I haven't played it yet, but I know it's going to make the game a lot easier when it comes time for that portion of the game. Up ahead here is where you'll find a note, and it sort of goes over, the idea with the lickers is, walk, don't run. Now you're going to see me kind of scan through stuff for the most part. You're going to see me skip over cutscenes because I've seen them before. But this is only, technically my second playthrough, so I am kind of, like, I do take my time with some stuff as I'm looking at it, and I'm able to really appreciate it, because I'm not on stream. I don't have, 100 people or whatever watching and, expecting me to do the next thing. I can just sort of play it for me, which is a lot of fun. But this run went so well that after I got to the point where I was like, I'm going to call it a night, I'm going to stop playing. Once I got to that point in the night, I was like, man, that run went really well. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to see, how long it was. Unfortunately, when you save the game with a new save file, it goes off of your total playtime, not that particular saves playtime. So that kind of sucks. I didn't know how long this took me. Judging by where the clip started, I'd say this entire thing probably took me about 45 to 50 minutes. But I already know how to get everywhere. I know what each puzzle needs. I know that there has to be C4 used right here so that I can get the last medallion. And I know, more importantly, that after I put this medallion in, I'm going to have to fight the first boss of the game. So I'm prepared for that. I've not wasted, as much ammo. I've not wasted any healing items at all. Everything has gone really, really well. This game in general, man, the lighting is so good. And I'm sure if you've watched anything about this already, you've probably already heard people. I won't harp on it too much, but it is. Allow me to also say the lighting in this game, and the use of shadows, and the use of dark, and the use of light in this game is incredible and really well done. So, I'm a Dark Souls guy, and I'm playing Resident Evil 2. And if you come to... A lot of reason I'm posting this is because my Twitch viewers are having to watch me struggle through hardcore, and I really wanted to show people, like, hey, on normal, it's a totally different story. But a lot of I told my Twitch viewers, I did a Dark Souls 2 stream, and I said, okay, when we finish this, I'm going to play Resident Evil 2. And I know a lot of you probably already have streamers that you watch who are already playing it. And for that, I apologize, because I'm going to be one of them also playing it. What is it exactly about Resident Evil 2 that has drawn so many Souls content creators and Souls streamers? What is it about this game that's driven so many of them to play Resident Evil 2? Well, first and foremost, it's just a big game, and a lot of streamers are going to just play, whatever big game comes out. People want to see them play it. They want to know their opinion on it and see if it's any good or not. And a lot of times it's just, go where the numbers take you. But that's honestly not a really fair assessment of Twitch in general, because it's a bigger pool. Does that make sense? When you play Dark Souls, it's for kind of like a niche audience. So you can be a big fish in a small pond. When we venture out and start playing other games, we're kind of small fish in the ocean. So, don't assume just because you see a streamer playing something that's popular, don't assume it's because, they're trying to get popular, because real talk, that's not how you go about doing it. But that's one reason that streamers might be venturing out to play Resident Evil 2. A lot of them are probably like myself, and I know this for a fact because I'm friends with a lot of other, Souls people. We're all kind of in the same age group, except for Pincognito, who's actually a 600-year-old Krav Maga instructor. I don't know if you guys knew that about Pinko or not, but yeah, he's actually many centuries old. I encourage you to tell him that you would like to learn the mystic martial arts, because he's the guy to give them to you. No, but we're all kind of, roughly around the same age. So a lot of us played this when we were kids, and it's just kind of nice to go back and play it again. But there is sort of a core concept here. The sewers that I played through in hardcore mode, I'm like, holy shit, this is the depths. I don't know that Miyazaki was influenced by Resident Evil 2 at all, but the sewers in Resident Evil 2, like as I'm playing through this version of it, and as I'm remembering the sewers in the original version, I'm like, yeah, this is totally the depths from Dark Souls. Also, the idea of a interconnected world, Resident Evil has that. There's actually a few, and I'm gonna ease off the IGN commentary here, so just let me have it for a second. It's the Dark Souls of this or that. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, an interconnected map. It's got that. It's a really good map. It's really well made, and the way things loop together always surprises me. Even though I've played this game 20 years ago. Speaking of the map, this is the literal map that I'm looking at, and they did a really good job with this. If you'll notice, the red spots on the map are areas that I've not fully explored, meaning there's still an item to be found. Or maybe there's something for me to interact with that I haven't messed with yet. And what I'm doing right now is I'm trying to remember, like, where the fuck do you get the key card that gets you to the shotgun? And I'm just kind of looking over everything to see what I've missed. There's a bit in the game that kind of like tells you, hey, go explore the East Wing. And I was like, okay, well, I skipped a part because I knew there was no reason for me to go in there just yet. And it dawns on me after looking at the map here. I'm like, okay, it's on the East Wing. I need to go there. But the map does a really good job. It also will show you items that you've left behind. So you can purposefully leave an item behind and rest comfortably knowing that when you open your map, if you looked at the item, if you acknowledged that the item existed, it will show up on your map again. Now, that was part of the problem for this key card, was I had not looked at it, so it wasn't showing up on my map. But I remembered where it was at, where I hadn't explored. And that's essentially what makes the map just so great, is that it will show you, areas you haven't explored, and it'll show you items that you've left behind. So, like, I've purposefully left behind green herbs in the police station just because I know where they're at. I can look at the map, and I can go grab them, and I know I have to come back to this police station. The shotgun shells, on the other hand, I've gone ahead and picked up all the ones that I've come across because I knew before I went to find this boss I was going to have to get this shotgun. But it didn't dawn on me until I had done all this running around. Oh, God, I've unlocked everything but the shotgun. And I know I'm getting ready to go fight a boss, and so I want that shotgun. Shotgun's going to help me a lot. Now, this boss that we're going to go fight, I struggled with. Oh, God, I struggled with. It took me a minute. This is another thing. You see me in my menu right there, switching from music, and I'm on stream. I'm playing with the old school Resident Evil 2 soundtrack, and I'm very much enjoying that. I paid $10 extra to get that, and I'm fucking over the moon about it. I would easily pay $10 for that. But I've kind of been like, well, let's give the new soundtrack a listen. As I'm playing, off stream, I'm kind of trying to appreciate the new soundtrack. To be honest, they just kind of go with like a lot of music and sound effects that the television show Lost made popular. That's where I first noticed it anyway. It's not so much music as it just is like a swell of sound. And yeah, it's like you're playing notes on an instrument, but there's not music really. It's just you're swelling the sound up. But when you hear this music, it's so good. It's atmospheric. It's not like something like super simple standard in 4/4 time. So it's not it's not comforting like, oh, you've heard, this beat before, or you've heard this melody before. It's still off-putting, but it's constantly there. There's constantly some music, some sound, which it's a bit like Majula in Dark Souls 2, I guess, if I had to compare it to something that like an audience of Souls people might recognize. So I'm getting ready to head down here and fight this boss. And as you can see, I've not taken a fucking hit. I've not wasted much ammo. I'm doing really good. I haven't even saved up until this point in the game. I've not used a typewriter because in the original Resident Evil, and I don't know how it works in the new one. I don't know how it works in this remake. But in the original, don't pick up first aid sprays and don't save the game too often. That's how you got a good grade when you finished the game. I don't know how that works in the remake, but I'm assuming it's the same. I also just kind of want to talk about the difference between a remake and a remaster. This is a remake. They have, from the ground up, remade this game. A lot of people got upset about the Dark Souls remaster because they wanted a remake, and what they got was a remaster. The same game, glossed over, made prettier. This is a remake. This is a from the ground up, we made a new game, but it's a game you've already played before. We remade it. So here's the first boss. It's William Birkin, and I'm just going to shoot him in the head until he opens up his third eye, and I'm not being like Buddhist or anything about that. He literally has a third eye. I'm able to stagger him and just stay in his face, which I was not about to try that in hardcore mode. But on normal mode, I'm all about it. Leon kind of gives you some verbal cues here. When Leon talks, you know you're doing the right thing. Now that eye opens up, and in the original Resident Evil 2, those eyeballs played a huge part in the the art aesthetic of the game. So when you saw an enemy have a big eyeball like that, you knew damn well it was like, oh, I need to fucking focus on that eyeball. I need to shoot that eyeball. And you'll also notice that when I shoot the eyeball, it bleeds a different color rather than the red blood of William Birkin. We get kind of an orange, juicy looking thing. Now, he has two, I guess, like, I don't want to say phases, but he has two different personalities almost that he swaps back and forth here on. The first is, him struggling to deal with this mutation, and when it's like that, you'll hear him dragging the lead pipe around with him. Whereas when the eyeball takes control, you won't hear that anymore because he's like holding it. He's in like strongman mode. The game goes ahead and puts items here in all, I think all but one of the corners, and there's 4 corners in this room, and in 3 of those corners you'll find items. I'm doing pretty well, so I'm not having to rely on these items. Again, going with headshots to try and get him to open that eyeball up. And if you'll notice, I've not taken a hit this entire time. Doing pretty good with this boss fight. Now that I know how to do it. And by God, I feel justified for struggling with this boss fight for so long. I swear to God, people come into Twitch chat, especially people that are like, not regular viewers, not your regulars, They come into your Twitch chat and they're like, man, you suck. It's like, this is the first time I've fucking done this. Cut me some slack. So we use the grenade to stagger him. That gives us a moment to just go ham on that eyeball, and we're just using some pistol turn and burns and some shotgun criticals up close. Is how I'm choosing to deal with this dude, and it's working pretty well. Now, at this point in the fight, I'm leading him around, and if you notice, I'll start walking occasionally. It's because I'm trying to bait out an attack, like that one. And then once you bait out the attack, you can, you know, take advantage. And that was it. And I thought, man, did I just do this whole goddamn segment of the game? No hit, no save, no first aid spray? Because I believe I fucking did. And after all the shit talk Twitch chat has given me, you know I gotta post this shit on YouTube. Rub it in some faces. Anyway, that's kind of been, I guess, my review of Resident Evil 2, as well as a little bit of a early game walkthrough. I have no idea what to title this video. I feel like anything I title it is going to be, you know, clickbaity. It's not really a walkthrough. It's not really a review. It's more of a review through, I guess. And I don't... That sounds stupid. If you've stuck around throughout this much of the video, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm not going to ask you to, you know, like and... I'm just saying thank you. That's it. Okay, thank you. This is not something that I typically post on this channel. I don't suspect that this video will be especially well received, but I wanted to. I like it. I like this game. That's my review. I like it. I'm literally doing a thumbs up right now, and I'm calling myself out on it. It's like when somebody tells you they talked on the phone. Have you ever seen that George Carlin bit where he talks about the hand motion people do and they say, I'm on the phone? It's like, yeah, we know what a fucking phone looks like. I was literally doing a thumbs up when I said, I like it. And you, of course, cannot see me. And so the thumbs up gesture is entirely meaningless. However, do know that I did do a thumbs up. That's how much I like Resident Evil 2 Remake. Thanks for watching my video. I think that was my first... I think we're getting ready to see my first save. Again, you won't be able to tell because I have to, overwrite another save from the hardcore mode version, and it doesn't tell you the time, unfortunately, which is kind of lame. But look at, they just give you fucking pockets. They just hand them to you. They're like, hey, here, have some pockets. You're like, all right, cool. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I appreciate it. And I have a faith build in Dark Souls 3 for Spear of the Church. I actually made a video. I'll post it soon. Thanks for watching this. Until next time. Later, y'all.